the feeling like I'm stuck in my damn mind. Tell the feeling like I'm rapping a damn lie. Tell the feeling like my life is a damn game.
Hey, what's up, guys? Today, I'll show you an action horror film, House of the Dead, Part 2. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with a group of frat members dressed in military uniforms, planning to play a prank on a sorority on their campus. The frat members storm the sorority house with their water guns and begin to shoot every girl inside. A member takes a picture of another member and a sorority girl in bed together. Of course, she gets mad about the picture, so she storms out into the street. She does not hear the sound of the incoming car behind her, and before she knows it, she is hit by a vehicle. The man driving the car turns out to be her professor. He exits the car and asks if she's okay. She replies yes, thinking it was just an accident. Unbeknownst to her, she was hit on purpose. He specifically targeted her. To finish what he started, the professor hits the sorority girl on the head with a pipe. The professor carries her body and puts her in the trunk of his car. The scene jumps to the sorority girl, lying on an operating table with no pulse. The professor starts cutting away at her clothes and injects her with a serum, possibly hormone sticky ones. This serum has the effect of reanimating dead people. However, the sorority girl is still not moving. This enrages the professor and causes him to scatter his papers as he angrily walks toward a door. He turns the light on inside the room, which reveals Alicia, the survivor from the first movie, who has now turned into a zombie. She was injected with the serum by the professor's son, Rudy. Once he has calmed down, the professor walks back into the room and sees that the operating table is empty. His face lights up with joy because he now has proof that his serum is working. Unknown to him, the dead sorority girl has now turned into a zombie. She then attacks him. 29 days later in a fancy restaurant, Alexandra and the man are having a date and getting to know each other. The man reveals that he is a neurologist, which surprises Alexandra. Moments later, the chef grabs a salad plate and tells the staff that he's going on a break. He steps outside and eats the salad. He notices the professor, now a zombie, slowly moving towards him. The chef ignores it at first, but later calls out to the zombie. He puts the salad plate on the ground, thinking that a zombie is a homeless man. The zombie tramples the plate and attacks the chef, biting him in the process. The chef rushes back into the kitchen to treat the bite, and the waiter leaves to get first aid. Later on, a blue van enters a military compound. A skilled agent named Jake exits the vehicle dressed in a black suit and tie. He meets with a high-ranking superior, the same woman officer from the first film. She briefs him about the new zombie outbreak. His mission is to retrieve someone called the Nightingale right away. Back at the restaurant, the man's phone rings, and he excuses himself. He tells the person that the date is going well, and he has told Alexandra he was a neurologist, which he thinks she believed. The waiter from earlier goes to their table and pours Alexandra a glass of wine. She notices blood on his sleeve and asks if he is okay. The waiter tells her that the chef was bit by a homeless man. Alexandra leaves the table abruptly to the kitchen, but the waiter tells her that she can't be there. At that moment, they hear the sound of the chef turning into a zombie. The waiter tries to help the chef, despite Alexandra warning him to get away from the infected chef. The chef bites the waiter, and Alexandra reaches for a gun hidden in her ankle and shoots the chef in the head. Moments later, the waiter is put on a stretcher and brought into an ambulance. The man who was on a date with Alexandra approaches her and asks where she's going. Alexandra implies that there won't be another date, but thanks him for dinner. Jake then appears and heads toward Alexandra. She is the Nightingale that he's looking for. They enter the ambulance with the waiter. Jake asks her what she was doing, and she replies that she was on a date. He finds this unbelievable. The waiter turns into a zombie, and Jake shoots it with his pistol. Alexandra then asks Jake where they are headed, and he says that they are headed to a mobile unit, and he was tasked to fetch her. Later, the ambulance arrives at the military compound. Jake and Alexandra speak with the colonel, and she informs them that there was a stage 1 outbreak at a university campus. Their mission is to enter the campus and gather blood samples to confirm that it was a first-generation infection, and find survivors along the way before missiles destroy the entire area at 7 a.m. It's revealed that first-generation zombies are the zombies created on the Island of Death, shown in the first film. Their blood holds the key to curing the zombie infection. The colonel adds that a special forces team led by the surgeon will assist them. But Jake and the surgeon get into a verbal altercation, and the colonel tells the two to stop and cooperate. Jake and Alexandra enter the washroom. While getting dressed, he remarks that they will end up babysitting the other group. A female private from the other team overhears this and confronts Jake, saying that the Special Forces group was trained for combat and that they have their back. The lieutenant enters the locker room and introduces herself to female private. The private tells her that the special agents do not think the soldiers are up to the challenge. The teams all pile into the van and head to the campus. The sergeant leads the way, but Jake asks him if his team has had experience with zombies before. The sergeant replies that they are well trained. Jake tells Alexandra that the sergeant will get his men killed or worse, and tells Alexandra to watch his back. A male private notices that the place seems empty and there are no zombies, saying that he hopes to get a medal out of this mission. Suddenly, the group spots a zombie approaching them. The sergeant shoots the zombie twice in the chest and attempts to shoot the zombie once more in the head. But Jake tells him to stop so that they can get a sample. Alexandra scans the blood from the zombie, but it shows that the blood is a new generation sample that's worthless to them. The group continues, and another zombie appears. One soldier fights the zombie unarmed and subdues it. However, he ends up being bitten in the process. Alexandra notices the bite, and the surgeon orders the medic to put the soldier's arm in a tourniquet. Alexandra aims her pistol at the soldier's head, and Bart points his rifle at Alexandra to stop her. Jake pleads with the surgeon that this is the right thing to do. The surgeon orders his men to hold down the soldier, and he chops off the soldier's arm. The soldier turns into a zombie and bites the other. Jake shoots both of them in the head. The surgeon orders a full sweep of the perimeter to search for survivors. Bart and his group find a dead body with a fraternity ring, and Bart pockets the ring for himself. They continue up the staircase, and female private vomits because of the smell. The scene cuts to the rest of the group near the entrance of a building. The surgeon orders them to fan out and cover more ground. The group makes their way to the library, where they find a map of the entire campus, showing that everything is connected through tunnels. Male private and their team leader find a zombie sitting down and reading a book. Team leader thinks it's a survivor and approaches the zombie. Jake shoots that zombie, as well as another zombie that appeared. Meanwhile, Bart's group hears the sound of people talking. They enter the room to find a radio playing and a zombie in the room. They shoot the zombie, and Bart grabs a camera to take a picture with the zombie. The surgeon and his group enter another building. Alexandra takes another sample from a body and finds that it is the second generation again. Bart's group and female private notice that the room had no signs of forced entry, and she wonders how the zombie got in. Female private wonders if the virus has become airborne. But Bart suddenly gets bitten by a mosquito, and he realizes that he could be infected from mosquito bites. The surgeon and his group make it to a staircase, where team leader hears someone upstairs. Team leader stays behind and investigates. He follows a figure to a hallway and enters a room where he finds a zombie crying. He approaches and fights off the zombie, which he successfully locks in a closet. He opens the door leading outside and finds a zombie in front of him. The zombie charges and team leader dies. Bart is now in denial of what's happening to him. The lieutenant suggests that he shoot himself before he turns. Bart refuses, and the lieutenant points her rifle at him instead. The entire group gets into a standoff. Bart tries to convince female private and the lieutenant not to shoot him in exchange for $500,000 each if they could get a sample of first-generation blood to a pharmaceutical company instead of the special agents. Bart reveals that the surgeon is in on his plan too. Female private pretends to agree, but she knocks down Bart instead. The surgeon and the group head down the tunnel, where they find many zombies held off by a fragile-looking fence. The surgeon orders the group to move out of the area. One of the zombies took the surgeon by surprise, biting him in the process. The surgeon reassures them that he is okay, but he starts turning, so Alexandra shoots him in the head. Meanwhile, the lieutenant and female private handcuff Bart to a chair and leave him to die. Jake takes charge and orders the rest of the group to leave, but the zombies flood into the room. This forces them to take another path. Zombies fill the hall as well, leading to male private being bitten. Jake and Alexandra realize that the zombies can bite through body armor, and they flee the area. Jake radios base for extraction, but to no avail. Jake and Alexandra fight through another hallway, and they grab onto the pipes in the ceiling. They activate the sprinklers with a lighter, and Alexandra shoots a circuit board, resulting in the electrocution of the zombies in the hallway. The lieutenant and female private make their way back to the van. Female private opens the back of the van, only for a zombie to come out and bite her. The lieutenant shoots female private to end her suffering. Jake and Alexandra make it to the science lab, where the frightened research assistants of the professor start shooting at them. Alexandra convinces them to stop. They reveal that the professor was the one who started the infection, using a DNA sequencer to genetically reassemble the chromosomes in a person to bring people back from the dead. Jake asks them where the sequencer came from, and they lead them to the room where a zombified Alicia is being kept. In the flashback, the professor's son, Rudy, had given Alicia the serum he found on the island after she was killed by the priest. The serum successfully revived her. But after they were rescued, Alicia turned into a zombie, and the professor started experimenting on her. He created the second-generation zombies from the serum that he derived from her blood. This means that Alicia is the first-generation zombie that Jake and Alexandra need. Alexandra reveals to the assistants that they could stop the infection with Alicia's blood. Jake subdues Alicia and holds her down while Alexandra takes the blood sample. Zombies rush inside and kill the assistants. Jake gets overpowered and almost gets killed by Alicia, but he manages to shoot her. He and Alexandra escape out the door. Jake and Alexandra make it outside of the lab and fight off a horde of zombies. Alexandra gets tackled to the ground and she gives the blood sample to Jake. The lieutenant arrives with the van in time to save Jake and Alexandra. Jake manages to get into the van, but a zombie clings to his leg. He shakes the zombie off, but the blood sample gets dropped on the road as well. Jake tells the lieutenant they have to go back, but the lieutenant refuses to. If they don't return with a blood sample, all hope is lost. So the three of them go back inside the campus to retrieve a new blood sample before the campus gets leveled by missiles. The three enter the football stadium where they encounter zombies from the football team. They run through them and make it inside the gym. They encounter zombies in the locker room. They move past them, only to be trapped inside the maintenance room. Jake has a plan to move out of the room. He covers himself in blood and leaves his weapons. Jake exits the room and moves past the zombie horde, ignoring him because of the blood. The zombies start breaking through the door. The lieutenant and Alexandra use a desk to go up to the grate. The zombies break through, but Jake opens the grate in time. The lieutenant goes up first, and Alexandra manages to catch up. They make it into the lab where the male assistant, who is now a zombie, attacks the lieutenant. They manage to kill him, but the female assistant appears and bites the lieutenant. They successfully get the blood sample. Jake and Alexandra fight through the horde to make it to the exit, but Alexandra is surrounded by zombies, so she hands the vial to Jake and tells him to get out of the building. Jake makes it out in time before a missile hits. Jake makes it back to where the van is, but he's confronted by Bart, who demands the blood sample. Jake complies, but Bart attempts to shoot him. Luckily, Alexandra, who survived the missile hit, manages to save him in time. Bart throws a grenade at the van, leaving them without transportation. Jake reveals that the blood sample has been destroyed, dashing their hopes of eradicating the infection. Jake and Alexandra find a vehicle on the road. The movie ends as they make their way back to the city, and it's revealed that the virus was not contained, and the city is now overrun with zombies. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.